Well, hello, Bill O'Reilly. Hello, Bill O'Reilly. Do I have to say from BillO'Reilly.com, where you can listen to him, every day in his podcast on BillO'Reilly.com. Bill, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can. I didn't know if you were making me give the plug before you spoke, but glad you gave me the opportunity. How are you doing, Bill?
I'm a little agitated over the week's news. A lot of stuff going on, so I'm happy to be with you to sort it all out.
Okay, so let me start with someplace happy, because there was like 2 weeks where you were a happy guy, and I liked the happy Bill O'Reilly. I know you're right. Cranky and back to it. So let me start with some happy news. Yesterday, in the House, they passed Kate's Law. And a lot of people say, including me, that if that passes, that'll be, to a large extent, thanks to you.
Well, I appreciate that. It was interesting. Fox News didn't even mention my name last night, as they gave it scant coverage because the tweets dominated cable news. Kate's Law is necessary to send a signal to we the people, to every human being that resides in this country, legally or illegally, that our government will protect us. That's all it is. Yet hundreds of Democrats voted against it. 163 or something in the House of Representatives.
For those who don't know what Kate's Law is, what is it, and what does it mean to vote for it and against it?
It's a very simple law. It says that if you have a felony and three misdemeanors on your sheet, and you're not a legal resident of the United States, all right, and you get deported and come back 3 times, they give you two, then you can be sentenced to federal prison for up to 10 years. No mandatories. I want it mandatory 5 years to 10 for first offense. So, but it's a symbolic law. It's a symbolic law. Yes, it would make it easier for ICE agents to sweep up gang members and bad guys they know are in the country illegally, and they're following and tracking. Now they can just arrest them under Kate's Law. They don't have to wait for them to commit another crime. However, it's basically when you have, and in the Senate, they're not assured that this will pass because most Democrats will vote against it. And I said to my audience last night on BillO'Reilly.com, I'm not a party guy. I'm like you, Beck. I'm not, in one party. I'm a registered independent. But how can I get any respect for the Democratic Party when its leadership tells its members in Congress not to vote for Kate's Law? How can I respect the party like that?
What's their problem with it?
It demonizes the quote-unquote immigrant community. That's their rationale. You make all illegal immigrants look bad by punishing these people. And everybody will think all illegal immigrants come under Kate's Law. Come on.
No,
That's just a dodge.
It discriminates against those who have been arrested multiple times, shouldn't be here in the country, given more chances than most people would be given, and then those who walk out onto a pier and shoot an innocent American for no apparent reason and kill her on a pier. That's
Here's
really
how outrageous this is. The guy accused of killing Kate Steinle had been deported 5 times and come back 6 times. San Francisco County had him in the lockup. The feds said, hold him so we can come pick him up. They wouldn't. They let him out. He defied deportation 6 times. They let him out to run around. 3 weeks later, he shoots the girl dead, according to authorities. And you have Democrats, elected Democrats, saying we don't want to punish guys like that? Come on. This is the most extreme situation I've seen in 42 years of journalism. I am sick to my stomach about the Democratic Party not supporting it and the media ignoring it, flat out ignoring it, because, again, they don't want to demonize the quote-unquote immigrant community. This is symbolic of why America is in so much trouble. This case law.
I don't have a problem with the media ignoring it, because I think it has a chance of passing in the Senate with with the media ignoring it. I mean, yesterday a couple of things happened this week because I think, unbeknownst to him, or not coordinated or not thought out this way, I think his tweet really kind of covered the tracks of the Republicans in Congress to be able to get a couple of things done without the media just harping on it.
Well, I'll talk about the tweets in a moment. I want to advance this story because, again, I'm watching and reading the coverage of it, and they're missing the essential point of what Trump is doing. And I'll explain it in a minute. But to get back to the country being in trouble, and it is. We have a corrupt media, a media that's not seeking the truth. Everybody in the business knows it. We journalists know this, all right? So the media is not going to help the folks, not going to report honestly to your listeners. It isn't going to do it. That's dangerous. Secondly, we had cowardly politicians who take orders from the likes of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. These are not honest people, Pelosi and Schumer. They are corrupt people, all right? They are giving orders not to support Kate's law, not to, to promote anarchy in sanctuary cities. They're giving orders to do that, and if you don't toe that line, they'll punish you in Congress by denying you funds to campaign, by giving you a hard time, by supporting people to run against you in primaries. This is corruption.
The Republicans do exactly the same thing.
At the level, but not at that level.
I disagree.
They don't. Give me one example. Wait, Beck. Give me one example. That's all I'm asking of you today. One example of legislation that would help the country that Republican leadership have shot down with threats. Give me one.
Healthcare, actually repealing it. And they have threatened Rand Paul, Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Ron Johnson. They have gone after them. They have spread lies. But
let's see how that plays out. Let's see how that bill plays out. I'm going to cede your point that there's pressure put upon Republicans to vote for this new health care thing. But I'm not so sure that's bad for the country. That's the delineation line there. Go ahead.
How now they've gone back on their word. They're not going to stop the mandate and the taxes. So we don't
know that yet. We got to see. We got to see what that is. If they pull the tax cuts out of the bill, I will be disappointed.
Well, what does this bill do, Bill? Even if it has the tax cuts,
how
does this help? Here's what I want to ask. I don't want to talk about politics on this. What I want to ask is, do you believe that the Republicans or the Democrats are actually serious and have proposed something that will help the regular person get health insurance when their health insurance premiums have gone up 140%? And it also helps the people who don't have health insurance and really need it. Do you think this bill has done anything to change anything to help those people?
I can answer that this way. If this bill passes, it opens the door for another bill right behind it that says health insurance companies can compete nationwide. Why don't they do that at premiums?
Why don't they do this? Why don't they do that at the same time? They can.
Because they can't get it through. If they put that in the bill, they'd have to get 60 votes in the Senate. All right, by the Senate's arcane rules. And no, it is. It is because we researched.
Not according. I'll just take the word of Rand Paul, Mike Lee, and Ted Cruz. that they can do these things, and it is not the Senate rules and not the.
Well, they did if they put that in the bill that insurance companies can compete nationwide, they would need a 60-vote threshold, just like they need for Kate's law in the Senate. Mm-hmm. Okay, without it, they can just do simple majority in the Senate. So that's what our research shows. I could be wrong. I'm depending on my researchers.
Right. So let me ask you this.
Right on this.
Ben Sass said yesterday, if you can't get this through, just repeal and then come back with a better, with a better plan. Just repeal it.
I'm not opposed to that.
Right. And the president came out today and he tweeted about 20 minutes later, we should just repeal it. Why don't we go for that?
But let's see. Let's see if they do it or not. I'm on your side on that. Okay. I think the tweet, though, said they should just repeal it because Mika Brzezinski is, and then he put in some bad word. Did I get that wrong?
So, yeah, I want to take a quick break, and then I want to come back with this obsession about women bleeding from their whatever that the president seems to have, and how you view Joe and Mika. I mean, some are saying that they deserve it. The White House said yesterday they started it. They're saying, in a statement today that they think this shows that the president is unstable. I'd like everybody just to stop and work on the business of the people. We'll get Bill O'Reilly's take on this coming up in just a second.
This is the Glenn Beck Program.
Bill O'Reilly is here. Don Imus is coming up in just a second. And we welcome Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com, who is now going to share with us his take on the tweeting nonsense between Joe and Mika and the President of the United States. Yesterday, the president tweeted something that said, they were down at Mar-a-Lago and her face was bleeding from a facelift, and they wanted to come for a party, and I said no, you got to stay upstairs, and it was weird. Joe and Mika responded today with an op-ed, and also they stayed on their TV show, hoping that maybe somebody would watch it. And I don't know if anybody did, but they made a statement and responded today saying that that's not true and showed pictures of them at Mar-a-Lago at the time, and she wasn't bleeding from her whatever. Bill, what do you make of this?
Well, we got to walk through it step by step. Okay. Number one, Donald Trump is way oversensitive to criticism on cable news. I don't know why. And number two, I would submit that 90% of the American population does not know who Joe and Mika are.
Come on, it's not that low. It's more like 98% don't know who they are.
Well, I'm being generous, and I'm not. Right. This isn't a slap. This isn't a slap at them.
No, nobody watches MSNBC.
Right. They're not. They're not household names. People don't know who they are or what they do. So that Trump, in his anger, elevated them, did them a favor, because now a lot of people know at least their names, and today they'll get probably record ratings on their program.
Yes.
So if the intent was to hurt them, he didn't. But I don't think that's the intent here. I think, and I could be wrong, I'm speculating now, but I know the players pretty well. I think that Donald Trump and his advisors, his close advisors, like Steve Bannon, have decided that they're never going to get fair coverage from the American press, so that they're going to make the American press the enemy. And then next time around, they're going to run against the American press, as well as whoever the Democrats throw up. And they're calculating that the American people are so furious with the media, and polls show that's true.
Yes.
That they'll gain acceptance. The Trump administration will gain acceptance from more Americans by being aggressively brutal toward the press than they would if they ignored it. I think it's a political strategy that they feel that they're going to get votes in the long run by doing this.
Okay, so I kind of agree with you, or at least can see that is a real possibility.
Right.
But how does the president win when he's using this as a strategy to go against the press? How does he win in bringing the country together when he is doing something that most people, even some of his supporters, are really disgusted by? I mean, you just don't do that to a woman or anybody. You just don't treat people that way. And then yesterday, the White House came out and said, well, yes, but they literally, yes, but Joe and Mika started it. I mean,
right.
He's the president.
Well, number one, I don't think President Trump wants to bring the country together, because I think that their calculation, the administration's calculation, is that's never going to happen no matter what he does. So I don't think that's a priority or even discussed.
Okay,
it's
so
basically us against them. Us against them.
So let's stop there, and we'll come back. And I want to pick it back up with us against them. Is that an American thing that we should be doing? How do we repair for the next race? Next.
The Glenn Beck Program. Mercury. This is the Glenn Beck Program.
Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com is on with us. He's on with us every Friday at this time just to go over the news of the week. Bill, let me put two scenarios in front of you and have you help me understand where I'm going wrong. First of all, if the president was doing strategy, is there the possibility, when I was in Roger Ailes' office one time, he said to me, Glenn, you don't understand how to play the game. And I said, well, I'm not playing a game. And he said, I understand that, but there are ways to do things. And he said, for instance, do you think that Al Sharpton surprises me? And I said, I don't know. And he said, no, Al and I know each other, and I know that I have to give him a pound of flesh from time to time, and then he has to, then, we settle for a while, and then I need a pound of flesh from him, and he gives it to me, and we all have dinner, and everything is fine. First question, is there the chance that this between Joe and Mika and the administration is kind of that game where they both think that they are going to win, because there's obviously a long-time friendship between Joe and Mika and the president? I mean, we saw the way they were helping him with the questions when he was doing a debate on MSNBC, and we've seen that they're hanging out in his room. They've gone to Mar-a-Lago. He was one of the first people that knew about them getting married. Is there a possibility that this is a stage show that we're seeing?
No.
Why?
No. Because it's all based on emotion. As I said, Trump reacts emotionally to criticism. He doesn't like criticism. He won't accept criticism, even if it's constructed. You'll remember when I was covering him in the campaign in the Detroit debate, the live debate, I went to him after the debate for an interview, and he said, you need a psychiatrist, O'Reilly. And he was serious. I mean, and he may be right, but he was angry with me because I didn't do what he wanted me to do, whatever that was. I don't even know. So he takes it all personally. That's the Trump side. The other side on Brzezinski and Scarborough is ratings. Okay, it's ratings.
I agree with that.
Right. So they're in business at MSNBC, and they know that hating Trump is good for business. So once that was established, they were told, hate Trump. And Trump sees that as a betrayal, so that he's especially angry with them because, as you put it accurately, Once they were friends. So now they're not. And that's what happened.
Okay, so what we have here is the media acting like the media and doing their thing for ratings. Get it, understand it, not surprised by it. We have a president who takes everything very personal and reacts emotionally. So next question. What is the age that you have to be president? Is it 35? It's 35, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So why did the founder say that you needed to be 35 years old to be president of the United States?
Because they wanted a level of maturity.
So help me out on this. 35 years old, you should be more mature than they started it, or she's bleeding from the face. How do we as people stop this nonsense? Because the media is not helping. I take it at face value. They want ratings. So they're not helping and sticking up for the American people, which what they're supposed to do is the fourth estate. And the president is not mature enough to be president of the United States. He's acting like, honestly, my 13-year-old son might act. And that's an insult to my 13-year-old son. I would hope he would act better than this. How do we stop this, Bill?
You can't. I mean, you can't. So
So then
what happened was that the American people saw 8 years of Barack Obama when you had a president who was passive aggressive, who very rarely lashed out, but did things that came out that were not good for the folks. And the folks said, you know what, we're going the other way. We don't care if this is a flamboyant guy who speaks his mind and tweets his mind. We don't care, because we believe we got hosed the last 8 years by this button-down guy who was exactly opposite. So it was an emotional vote for Trump. So there's nothing you can do. Trump's not going to change. He's 70 years old, twice the age of the presidential requirement. He's always been that way. He's always going to be that way.
Okay, so but what I'm asking
is calculating that this is not going to hurt him with the folks.
Right. So so that's no different, really, than what the press is doing. They're doing it for ratings. He's doing it for votes and popularity, so he can be reelected.
Beck. Brilliant.
I know.
There you go.
I know. So here's the thing.
You don't have to go to BillO'Reilly.com for the analysis, because you just nailed it.
Right. So here's what I'm asking you, because I don't need to understand. I knew that. I got that. What I'm trying to get to is, how do we move forward as a country, as parties, and as human beings? I have people on my own staff with the Blaze that are in this stupid, childish Twitter war. And it is so stupid. We're supposed to be serving our audience. And they've got I don't even know all the details. I just know that a bunch of people are in a Twitter war. And honestly, I'm at the point where I'm going to come back and fire all of them, because we have to serve the people. Get out of your own space and serve the people. Who is going to say that if not the president? How do we get somebody?
Not going to happen under a Trump administration, or I'll submit, under any of the people in the Democratic Party that are lining up to run against him. Look, I said at the beginning of this interview, when we're talking about Kate's Law, the country's in trouble, and it is. And you know, I admire you and Prager for having your town hall today in Los Angeles about civility and how people should be able to talk to each other about opposing points of view. I think that the more media people that do that, the better the discourse will be. But let's be realistic. We're living in an age of hate, H-A-T-E, hate. And there's no counter to it, because the press is not seeking the truth. Look, I could stay here for 5 hours with you and tell you how I've been attacked over the past 20 years.
I know.
Okay, in brutal ways, and so have you. And so have you. And it's not going to stop, because those attacks work. They advance ideologues who have no conscience, who are trying to gain power. They don't care if the country's damaged. They don't care if people hate each other. They want either money or power.
I have been here for a week in mainly my days are in Hollywood. I'm spending my evenings having conversations with some of the most brilliant people from Silicon Valley. And again, I did it last night with a guy. I had dinner with a guy who has very little in common with me politically, but he sounded exactly like me and said he was concerned again about his side of the aisle. And he said, I'm just as concerned about my side of the aisle as your side of the aisle. We've got to stop this. I think the American people are in a different place than both the media and the Trump advisors think we're in. There is a group of people, a large group of people, that just want to continue. But there, I believe, is a larger group that if an adult stood up and said, knock it off, that person would be listened to.
I'm not sure because there isn't a uniformed way to communicate. It's scattered. It's balkanized. It's all over the place. And if you look at the internet where the under 50s live, Americans under the age of 50 live, if you look at that, the vicious, vile garbage that is on every single commentary line is staggering. You're not taught civility in school.
I know.
Parents are just as brutal as their children.
I know.
Language is coarsened.
Women are just as bad as men now. Yeah. I mean, I know it.
Look,
but I can't tell you how many people. I can't tell you how many people who are not in the same camp, anywhere close to the same camp, can't believe they're meeting with me. Kind of people.
No, I know. There
are saying to me this week, quote, I can't even watch CNN anymore. I don't believe anybody.
I think there will be a backlash against certain media properties. You can see it. I can see it because I follow the ratings. You know, since I left Fox News, the ratings for Fox have gone down substantially.
Yes.
All right. And then you saw it. You're going to see the other liberal networks, not last night because they'll all capitalize on this crazy tweet thing, but they're going to go down. Right. You were right. But in the individual, the American individual is now being taught that this kind of hatred is acceptable.
Yes.
It's acceptable. All right.
So,
and that's a big, big difference. I'm a historian. I write history.
I know.
And not since the Civil War. Not since the Civil War has there been such hatred between and among Americans.
And if this continues to play out this way, there will be another Civil War. Let me ask you this. I was really disappointed to read yesterday that Greta Van Susteren was fired, it seems to her surprise, because she had been told over and over again, you need more conflict. And I never watched her show, so I don't know what she was doing over there. But it seems as though NBC is there was some inkling that they might be trying to come back and reduce some of the conflict. I know that CNN is being told, the people there are being told, more conflict, more conflict, more conflict. Now Greta is being fired because she wouldn't follow that. Is there a chance that anyone on television will say we're going to go the other way?
No, because ratings are gathered, and Greta wasn't doing that well in the numbers, and she didn't, fulfill expectations. So NBC moved her out for another ideologue on the left. Greta's not a real ideologue, she's not, and she's more of a traditional interviewer.
Sure.
So it was just a numbers game with her, and then it gets back to, why people do what they do. It's either power or money. All right, power or money. And Americans need to know that you got to think about who you're watching and who you're electing.
Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com. I've got really only a minute, and I don't know how you're going to be able to answer this in a minute, but I'm going to try to give it a chance. When there is a society that has destroyed all of the role models, they have taken all of the traditional role models that, Moses and Jesus really were the role models and everything we built the West on. when we have gotten rid of them and destroyed all role models, and there is no one modeling good behavior, how does a society survive?
I don't know. I mean, I can't. That's in a minute. I can't possibly answer that. Look, your mandate is trying to bring people together and trying to have intelligent discussions. My mandate is seeking the truth. All right, we're different, but we're both trying to help the country in our own way. I don't care about money. I had the ratings. It didn't matter. I got destroyed by the left-wing ideologues anyway, and that's that. So I got BillO'Reilly.com, and we're doing what we do. You've got The Blaze, your radio show, and your website. You do what you do. And that's, when we go to sleep at night, at least we can say to ourselves, we're honest people. We love our country. It's 4th of July weekend, and we're trying to do our best. And so I hope everybody, goes to your website, goes to BillO'Reilly.com. We have great stuff there the next 4 days. But we're trying to tell the truth. But right now, Beck, the truth is depressing. It's depressing.
Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com. Thank you so much, Bill. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate the fact that you can take a punch as well as throw a punch. I appreciate that, and thanks so much for being on the program. Check out BillO'Reilly.com, become a member, and see his premium stuff, which, I don't know, premium's a little strong of a word, but check out his no-spin news every night at BillO'Reilly.com. Thanks, Bill. Happy Independence Day weekend.
Thanks for having me in.
You bet.